Trae. Come on, it's the day with Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peace that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I get to welcome you to another amazing episode of the Day with Trae. I'm really excited for my guest who is here. We got Rycheal in the building, y'all, and we're going to be talking about Langston and the Black Nerd Fest. This is the second year of Black Nerd Fest, so I'm so excited to be talking to them and making sure that we have a great experience and give y'all all the details. So, of course, this is also the top of the show. So, I'm going to come right to you because this is where you are really helping us grow just by sharing the show with others who could benefit from our daily dose of dopeness. I am grateful to you for doing that, sharing. But this is the time where you get to do that. So take a beat, share it around, however you're consuming the show. Of course, if you can't watch us in this fully fledged out production, don't worry, we got you covered. You can always listen to us as well anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and The Day with Trae. You'll find us there. Okay, so before I get into it today, I got to say to y'all, because I always want to share my life lessons. And one of the things that I have been exploring with my son is his impact, right? Like not only how he is with his friends, because I think that's very key as a young person. He's 12 and the people he keeps around him can do some damage or do some good, right? And it's just true. When they talk about birds of a feather flock together and all that, I used to be like, I don't know if that's always the case, but it is so true. And I'm grateful because my son is really gaining an understanding about what that means and what that looks like. And we had a deep conversation recently where he was sharing with me just how important it is for him to live his best self. Not just for me to see that in him, but for him, like how much he wants to make sure that he has this kind of plan. He has this vision for himself. And he's like, I'm probably going to get married around this time. I'm probably going to have my kids around this age. He's very serious about it. And I'm like, yes, son, right? With the right planning, you can totally do those things. And it was such a great experience for me, not just as a mother experiencing like my parenthood, right? But as someone who could think about how we pour into the next generation and how imperative it is that they have examples of what it looks like so that they can actually see it for themselves. And I'm so grateful because I have these kinds of conversations with him. And I wanted to share it with you all because I'm always saying the way that we pour in, the way that we listen and connect is such a vital tool in our community, in our families, in our relationships. And if you forgot that, I am here to remind you just how vital it is to have the right kind of conversations at the right time and to be open to listening to others and their experiences and what they got on their heart. Because providing that space for folks, and I'll say especially our elders and our young people, they are having a very specific kind of experience for them. And at those different age ranges, there are some things that we're either learning and gleaning from or some things that we really can contribute to. And of course, there's a wide spectrum of all of that. But it is a beautiful thing to sit down with an elder and just listen. It's a beautiful thing to sit down with a young person and just listen. So I'm encouraging you to find those elders in your life, circle back with them, circle back with those young people in your lives, and find times to listen to them. Well, after this short break, y'all, up next, we got Rycheal in the building, and we're going to be talking all things Black Nerd Fest. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Experience the revitalized spirit of the Seattle waterfront at Coleman Commons, a premier event space where modern luxury meets local charm. Unwind in our serene wellness spaces or find inspiration browsing unique exhibits from local artists. Our space offers the perfect backdrop to connection with friends, neighbors, and community. Fit from everything from company galas to your girl's birthday party. Looking to book a space for your event? Visit ColemanCommons.com today.
Black women in Washington face more than twice the risk of syphilis in 2024, but cases are falling as we learn the facts and look out for ourselves. Yet 1 in 10 pregnant cases were among Black women. But more than half of potential congenital cases were prevented with early care. Early testing makes a difference. Get tested and protect yourself. Protect your child. Protect the community.
Pride to me was more than just a celebration. It was an opportunity for folks to see the value in Black and brown communities, and above all else, belonging. So you see, community, that's what We Live in Color has always been about. For you to hear our hearts, see our minds, and above all else, see why Black media matters. Catch this and more on We Live in Color every Thursday on Converge media streaming platforms.
Yeah. Welcome back, y'all, to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Joining me right now, we got JR in the building. Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's good? How you doing?
I'm great. It's so great to have you.
It's great to be here.
You know, Langston just provides so much amazing programming, and it's such a staple in our community. You are the interim marketing director, and
Yes.
so you have a unique viewpoint to be able to amplify the work of Langston. Tell us a bit about how you got into the role.
Amazing timing and community members who were willing to put me in touch with people whose needs align with my skills and gifts. So that is the short version of how I got here. But I have a good bit of history with the Seattle community as an artist and as an arts advocate and also as a wellness advocate. So I think that it was aligned for sure. But the timing of it, I think, was unique because I came back to Seattle after being away for 3 years, looking for opportunities to get plugged in where my values aligned, where I'm not just in a position to do good work and tell good stories and make brands look and sound good, but also doing work that directly impacts the community and puts me in a position to be able to amplify and tell our stories in ways that honor the humanity and the fullness of who we are.
Yeah. You know, this sense of honoring in marketing, it almost feels like, is that an oxymoron, right? I remember in my first marketing course in college, at that time, I was so offended because how dare you tell me because I live in this zip code that I'm likely to shop at this place and I'm likely to make this amount of money. Mm-hmm. And you done depict my entire existence without ever saying hello to me, mm-hmm. You know, right? So tell us a bit about how you're able to bring your expertise to the work that Langston is doing, like those specific things, because we're talking about, Langston does good work, but how do people know about it is the key, right?
Yeah, and I think that's primarily my assignment right now is making sure that the community does understand and doing what I can to fill in the gaps where people don't fully understand what Langston does. But I think that part of the challenge is listening. And I think that that's probably one of my strengths overall is listening first. When this opportunity was presented to me to be the interim marketing director, I probably asked more questions in the interview than I answered just to get a sense of it, especially as a trans man. I have a very strict respect the locals mantra and mindset about myself. It's about honoring the people who've come before me and what they've created, and not necessarily seeing myself as the hero or the savior, but essentially a megaphone to amplify what has already been done. And so I take great pride in being able to step into this role to help amplify that legacy. But it all goes back to listening to what the community is looking for, paying attention to where the community is being redistributed to. That's another huge part of it. And then making sure that the community always feels like they have a home at Langston. Like Langston is the cultural steward and the cultural centerpiece in an area that largely does not really reflect us in the ways that it used to. So at the core of everything that I'm doing is making sure that I'm honoring the stories of the people who were there first and making sure that they always feel like they belong here, even if their addresses have changed.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, I can really appreciate that. I think there's something to be said. We were just having this conversation earlier, my director and I, and someone else too, about like this notion of like, I came to Seattle to help the community. And I think that in some cases, people don't recognize that like there's been movement. And so I really appreciate you saying like, as a transplant, I got to recognize like what was done before. How do I amplify that? I really appreciate that perspective. And it's not one I hear often, because I think a lot of folks, especially folks who move from predominantly black cities, right, and come up here to Seattle, it's like, yo, I didn't see this thing, so I had to make this thing a reality because I wasn't experiencing it. Or, you know, where is black community? And I think that two things can be true at the same time. Like, people's experiences need to be upheld. And if you were seeing a gap somewhere, I love how people are filling the gaps. I mean, we have some amazing entities who've just really become such a fabric of community because they had that perspective. And then, you know, to hear you say that is also refreshing. So I see it as a both and. But Langston really is such a pillar. And, you know, this notion, I remember when they were like, no, we want our doors to be open to community again. We want people to feel like the things that we're putting on reflect them. And ultimately, you know, people should feel at home here. How does that translate into the way it is marketed? Can you tell us, like, how do you package that so people understand that real effort and intentionality that Langston leadership is saying? That's who we are. That's who we got to become again.
Correct. I think one is acknowledging that some change has happened, and I think sometimes we like to sidestep that part. Like, Langston is still a centerpiece in the Central District, but the geography of the Central District has changed, and so if the people's circumstances have changed and the people's lives have changed, and if their lives have changed and the conversation has changed, and it's kind of being mindful of all of those nuances as we're talking to people. But once again, it's looking at the heart of what Langston has been, which is ultimately one of very few spaces that I've witnessed in Seattle in my time that has an intergenerational legacy, not just in terms of place, but in terms of leadership. Like, for example, Gabriel, Teodros, and Ebony Runga were kids who ran around Langston, are now on the executive leadership, the director's team. And so I think it's finding unique opportunities to show the community that Langston still is at the heart the same space for belonging, curiosity, connection, creativity, and community. It's not just about arts programming, but it's about placemaking. And we all know that in terms of like Black urbanism and geography and redlining, the importance of placemaking is not just physical, but it's about making sure that people feel at home, and that is a direct reflection of how well you can help them see themselves in the marketing. And I think one of the ways that we've been able to do that successfully most recently is the Seattle Black Nerd Festival marketing, which we've intentionally been marketing to make sure that we're saying, hey, this is a Black Nerd Festival, but it's for everyone. There is a unlimited number of ways to be a nerd, and all of them, all versions of you, have a home and a place and somewhere to belong, someone to belong to here at Langston, because we aren't here as an institution to dictate what the Black community in Seattle is or what it becomes, but just to make sure that the Black community has a place to belong here, regardless and no matter what kind of Black person you identify as, you know.
Man, they got the right person for the job. They are. Let me tell you. I mean, I'm like, yes, to everything. I'm like, yep, that's it right there. And of course, my communications background, that's why I'm digging so much into the marketing side, because it's interesting because as a young person, Langston was never marketed to me. It was just there. It was just the space. It was where we went. And especially when we were creative in the arts and wanted to explore that more, the opportunities were there, and it was that was that place which helped to shape me into who I am today. And so it's interesting because I really am curious about like how do we take something that has been so known to community. When you talk about community changing, there is a need to be that intentional with marketing it back to the folks who say, no, the what you experienced then is still alive and well here in this space today. But also for newcomers like yourself who, you know, when especially when I think global majority folks come up to the Pacific Northwest, they're seeking cultural experience.
Yes.
They're seeking cultural hubs.
100%.
And it's important for all of those folks to know Langston's here, and Langston's here for you in all the ways that you show up. So I really appreciate that. Now, Black Nerd Fest. I mean, this is the second annual one.
Yes.
And I remember hearing about this last year, and I'm like, what? What is this? What is going on? Tell us a bit more, because I think this one in particular explores a lot of different facets, right? So give us a little example of what this is all about.
Cool. Well, like you said, it's the second year. Seattle Black Nerd Festival is different. First of all, I just want to acknowledge that there are several Black Nerd conventions, and so we aren't saying that we're the only one. But it is the second year for ours at Langston. And I think what separates this for us is that we are solely focused on creating this very intentional portal for Black creativity, joy, curiosity, and connection. We want Black folks to just come as you are. Like that is literally bring your Black nerd magic. And when we say that, we mean literally come as you are. Come with your quirks, come with your interests, come with what you think is cool. Find some other people who think that that's cool. Find some other stuff that's cool that you didn't even know about before you came. But it's essentially our way of dismantling this idea that nerdom looks one kind of way, or that it's cool to be Black, and being a Black cool person means that you're not a nerd, and if you're a Black nerd, then you're not a cool person. And it's like, no, all of these intersection, cross pollinate, cross function, like there is so much beauty in duality, and so many of us embody that just naturally. And so Seattle Black Nerd Festival in a lot of ways is us creating a physical space to hold room, to make room for that, for Black imagination without these restrictions, without these constraints, without judgment, and to just make it safe for Black people to show up, be weird, be cool, be quirky, and have fun, you know?
Yeah. So this is a collaboration of a lot of different things. We're talking art. We're also talking other things. I think in one year there was like a whole section on like just comic books and things of this nature. What are some of those installations and some of the things that folks should experience when they come?
Cool. Well, there's Brown Sugar Fantasy Jam, which is in Pratt Park, adjacent to Langston, in the proximity of Langston, where there will be concerts. We have performances confirmed by People Need Water, which is a local music group. We have Magical Melody. We have skate demonstrations. We also have game rooms. We have a whole spirituality sector this year, because once again, there are a million things you can nerd out about, and it's not always just about tech and gaming, but nature, spirituality, mysticism, all these different fantasy, like beyond anime even. So there's an anime rave as well. We also have Boots Riley, so there's a film nerd component. Boots Riley is coming for the I Love Booster screening and doing a Q&A. So we'll bring some of that energy in. But we also have youth activations. We have youth performers. So, I mean, there's literally just about anything you can think of that you might be interested in that's represented here, from, like I said, music to anime to sports, gaming. We've got panels on AI. We've got sound healing. We've got Afrofuturist panels. So we've covered pretty much, I mean, I won't say we've covered all the intersections, but we got a good range of them represented here this year. Yeah.
This is really incredible. Now, it's so interesting because as you're talking, I don't know that I ever was like, yeah, I'm a self-proclaimed like Black nerd, right? But when we talk about geeking out about stuff, I really will geek out about certain things. And you named several of them. Yeah. So it definitely is perking my ears up. Now, of course, if folks are interested, they want to be there. I got to give you the time and space to look right in that camera right here and let folks know exactly when it is happening and how they get their tickets and stay locked in with Langston.
Okay. The Seattle Black Nerd Festival, the second annual Seattle Black Nerd Festival, is happening at Langston this year, August 28th through the 30th. We had so much fun year one that we've extended it to 3 days now. So we've got a whole weekend full of fun, nerding, gaming, curiosity, and connection. The activations will all take place at Langston and Pratt Park. I believe we have one anime rave offsite at the Black and Tan. But like I said, we're in community. We're here to have a good time. Show up in cosplay, show up in costumes, show up as yourself. Come as you are, bring what you love, find your people. That's what we're about.
Goodness. And so they can go get their tickets at what? Langston.org?
LangstonSeattle.org/SBNF is where you can still go and RSVP for free. There are a few activations that have sold out, but we do still have some tickets available. So now would be the time to grab those.
Man, stuff is selling out because people are excited.
Quick. Yes, it's going to be a great time. It's
Wow.
been a great time. In the summer, hoorah.
There we go. And we know that we've dubbed August Black August, right? So it's beautiful to be able to end with such a collaboration of creativity and experience.
100%.
Thank you for everything you're doing over there at Langston. Keeping the doors open for community is key, and really ensuring that everything that Langston produces is reflected in this collective cultural experience we have. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Wow. Y'all, I'm just so impressed. You know what I mean? When we talk about a pillar, a cultural hub and a pillar that Langston is, it was and has been and is continuing to be, it's so beautiful to hear how that thorough line is continuing to this very day. Of course, I'm going to wrap it all up right after this short break, y'all. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
When our community seeks answers, we just don't report the news. We hold the space for the solutions. The Pop-Up, bringing you face-to-face with policymakers, change makers, moving your city forward. Unfiltered, unapologetic, and essential. And now, we're gonna come to you a little bit earlier. Tune into The Pop-Up weeknights at 7 p.m., where culture meets Converge.
Real ones show up for each other. In the barbershop, at home, in the group chat, we check in. Not just you good, but really good.
Because the health of your friends and family matter, and they need you to check in. Healthy men keep each other safe.
And real ones check in on the ones we love. Because when we tap in, we stay healthy together.
Discover the new heartbeat of Seattle's waterfront at Coleman Commons, the Emerald City's premier event space where culture, creativity, and community come together. Looking to book a new space for your event? Visit ColemanCommons.com today.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Huge shout out to my guest, Rycheal Lester-Peters, in the building. And when I tell you that, for me, there is such a beauty in someone saying, I have an expertise, let me just try to figure out how to help in community. I'm all here for it. But it's also such a great experience because I'm at Langston all the time, right? Teen Summer Musical, they're doing the rehearsals there. I'm there as a parent all the time, but also I was just there experiencing Said by the Father and Son, my guy Rob Young and his father Leon Walker putting on this phenomenal show. And really it was a reminder of how Langston can be used as that space that is necessary to continue to pour into the creative community right here in Seattle, and folks coming from beyond Seattle to rent out Langston and to put on shows. It is just a reminder of how special that place is. And I'm so grateful to JR for joining the team and all the leaders at Langston who are really ensuring that the programming stays reflective of the culture that we grew up knowing Langston to explore and to amplify. So if you are thinking about Black Nerd Fest, clearly you want to get your tickets. Certain things are selling out, so get your tickets today. Go to LangstonSeattle.org. Get your tickets today. Get all the information there. I'm so grateful that y'all were watching so you can know all about Black Nerd Fest this year. Of course, I appreciate you joining me, and I'll be back with y'all next time. Until then, peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.